I have to tell you about a sign I saw on the way down here. Drive-through prayer. Drive-through prayer. It was fast food, fast prayers. I thought just any gimmick that we could use to get people to come, we'll use it. Anyway, drive-through prayer, something in trial if you want to take advantage of it. Drive around back, and I don't know what happens back there, but it should take drive-through. Anything else? Do we have any announcements this morning? Does anyone want to announce anything else?
Well, the biggest announcement is our next service, excuse me, on October 15th, we'll be at Harmon Field, and we'll have the service, and then we will have a picnic following the service, and it will be potluck. So the fellowship will provide the entrees, and if everybody else will bring a side dish, a salad, dessert, bread, something like that. So we will have a nice picnic. Hopefully the weather will hold out for us, and we'll be able to enjoy the waning days of fall.
Thank you. And I'm sure there's going to be some music, right? And we might just have a little simple line dance if you're up for that. Nothing real fancy. Do-si-do and things like that. Cha-cha. Cha-cha slide. Okay. I don't even know what that is. Okay, anything else? Anyone want to, Sally?
Adding to the picnic notice, if people were able to bring their own utensils and place setting, it would really cut down on disposals.
Thank you, Sally. Yes. Did anyone hear that? Bring your own eating utensils. I mean, if you can, to the picnic so that we can cut down on the waste. Thank you, Sally. Okay. Let me open our service with these words from our hymnal. We come to this time and this place to rediscover the wondrous gifts of free religious community, to renew our faith in the holiness, goodness, and beauty of life, to reaffirm the way of an open mind and the full heart, to rekindle the flame of memory and hope, and to reclaim the vision of an earth made fair with all her people one. Our opening hymn is number 311 in your hymnal, and Kathy has agreed to lead us in that. Let it be a dance. Because our pianist is not here today, we're going to kind of wing it, but Kathy's going to lead us. Let it be a dance, and could we stand for that this time? What is the it in that song?
Life.
Life? How many say life? Let it be a dance. How many say it's the world out there? Okay, Richard, I got one vote. Okay, I'm glad you were able to answer that question. I agree. Let it be a dance. Life is a metaphor for dance is a metaphor for living. We'll get back to that in a moment. But first, let's have our chalice lighting. Kathy. We're glad you're here again.
It's on? Okay. This is a quote by Richard O'Donoghue, which is an excerpt from his book, Beauty, the Invisible Embrace. All through your life, the most precious experiences seem to vanish. Transience turns everything to air. You look behind and see no sign even of a yesterday that was so intense. Yet in truth, nothing ever disappears. Nothing is lost. Everything that happens to us in the world passes into us. It all becomes part of the inner temple of the soul, and it can never be lost. This is the art of the soul, to harvest your deeper life from all the seasons of your experience. This is probably why the soul never surfaces fully. The intimacy and tenderness of its light with blindness. We continue in our days to wander between the shadowing and the brightening, while all the time a more subtle brightness sustains us. If realize the sureness around us, we would be much more courageous in our lives. The frames of anxiety that keep us caged would dissolve. We would live the life we love, and in that way, day by day, free our future from the weight of regret.
Thank you. Please join with me in this responsive reading to the, or this reading. We light this chalice for the light of truth. We light this chalice for the warmth of love. We light this chalice for the energy of action. We light this chalice for the harmony of peace. Thank you. It's not in our service, give you an opportunity if you'd like to share a joy or a sorrow or concern with the congregation and the community. Feel free to do that. And Nick will hand you a microphone. If you raise your hand, would like to share with us. So let's, for the next few moments, share our joys and our sorrows, concerns with each other. Thank you. Let's continue our service with our offerings. And we're going to, Derek and Becky and I are going to sing a hymn. We are dancing in Sarah's Circle. If you want to sing along, it's hymn number 212 in your hymnal. We'll sing the first 3 verses.
We are dancing Sarah's circle. We are dancing Sarah's circle. We are dancing Sarah's circle. Sisters, brothers, one. Here we seek and find our history. Lucian, I don't know who this person is, I just came across this quote, and I really liked it. I opened my message, my reflection with these words from this person. In the beginning, when the sun was lit, the maze of things was marshaled to a dance. Deep within us lie forgotten strains of it, like obsolete charmed sleepers of romance. And we remember when on thrilling strings and hollow flutes the heart of midnight burns. The heritage of splendid moving things descends on us, and the old power returns. Let's take a few minutes. I want to react to that. Does it say anything to you or not? Or you read it again? Yeah. Now listen here, you all are Unitarian Universalists. They're never quiet. I'm just teasing you. It reminds me when I read it and thought about it, I had time to think about it, so it reminded me of the Hindu god Shiva, in one sense, who danced creation into being. And the dance was, the creation of cosmos out of chaos. So, and I noticed the United Nations, when they met in India, instead of the cross or the Bible or the Ten Commandments, they had Shiva out front. Dancing god Shiva, Lord of the dance. It also reminded me of something Jesus said, we piped for you, but you wouldn't dance. Sort of metaphor, we gave you a message, but, I mean, that's the way I read it. We gave you a message, but you're just not going to respond. So let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Now, would that be a waltz? Or would it be the tango? Or might it be the twist? Or the jerk? How many people in here do the jerk? Okay, Robin does the jerk. Can you demonstrate for us real quick the jerk? All right. Well, could that be a circle dance, a square dance, a group dance, or just two individuals out on the dance floor doing their own thing? And I hate to mention it, but it could be dirty dancing. But we won't go there this morning, okay? We'll save that for the picnic. So what I mean is there are all sorts of dancing, because dancing is universal. Human beings have been dancing since they became human beings, whenever that was. 30,000 years ago or whatever. They're primitive dances, they're modern dances, but dancing is a universal human trait. And in many ways, it's a conversation, believe it or not. Dancing is a conversation. We see it more as an art, play, or entertainment. It was play for our distant ancestors, but it was very serious play. We'll talk about that in a moment. Dancing is part of rituals, like, for example, the buffalo dance. We'll talk about that in a moment. So, for us, dancing is maybe in the category of art or entertainment. And yes, it belongs there, but it's also, there's an aspect of dance that's very serious, too. Our ancestors, our distant ancestors, worshipped with their bodies more than their brains and their heads. And there's this, again, since my background is out of Christianity, the text in David and the Kings, when David dances before Yahweh to celebrate the recovery of the Ark of the Covenant that was stolen from Israel. He dances as a way of thanking Yahweh. It's a dance with the body. But over time, religion sort of moved up from the body, from the feet up into the head, and it became what you think, what you believe, what's in your head. The cargo you carry around in your head. Theology. That Shinto priest that told Joseph Campbell, we don't have a theology, we dance. Well, many of us would say, well, how do you have a religion without a theology? Well, the Shinto would say, well, our theology, okay, if you want a theology, our theology is in our dance. And, I checked out some of the Shinto dances on the internet, if you want to look at them. They're very refined dances, by the way. A lot with the fingers, the movements are real delicate movements, the Shinto dances. And then there's the whirling dance of the Hindu Sufi that do the whirling dances. Anyway, over time, in some cases, St. Augustine said dancing incites idolatry, lust, and damnation. St. Augustine, the great, big, nice theologian of Western history. That's what he said about dancing. So dancing in many cases, in many denominations, was forbidden. Does anybody come from a background where dancing was forbidden? Would you name that, or name the denomination?
It was a Southern Methodist church, but it was exactly like the Southern Baptist church, except they sprinkled you rather than dumped you.
And that doesn't count. I'm sorry to say it. Sprinkling doesn't count. It's got to be total submersion. Well, that whole idea goes back to the founder of Christianity, Apostle Paul. He was the founder of Christianity, by the way. And in his mind, the flesh was the house of sin. Sin comes from the flesh. And the flesh is tied to the body. So, he says things like this, the flesh cannot inherit the spirit. So what you get with St. Paul is a very spiritual, heady religion. And if you read any of his letters, they're very philosophical. It's all about what you think up here. So as a result of that, I think over time, dancing was seen as something not good. And then, it became sort of secularized. It was in the arts and entertainment. And by the way, I don't know about you, but I don't believe in the secular and the profane. I think it's audacious that some people think that, God, we're going to put up a sign here that says no trespassing. You can't come over here, This is profane. So to me, all dancing in some sense is sacred. And think about the dancing of the 60s, which I was thinking about that, the twist and the jerk. And in my mind, it was sort of a breakout, a sort of a liberation, that we're tired of this restraint on the body. We're tired of the restrictions on the body, so we're just going to kind of let it fly. We're going to twist, we're going to jerk, or we're going to do the crocodile walk, whatever that is. But, I just basically want to say, dancing is fun, I think, for most people. Dancing is just plain fun. And if you're into genetics and all that, and neurology, it creates dopamine. So if you want to create some dopamine, just get up and dance. Now, before we go any further in the subject, I want to show you a little film that Lucian has put together and worked very hard to put together. This is from Jane Goodall, Chimps at a Waterfall. I want you to listen to what she says about these chimps. We're going to try it. She has worked real hard on it.
When the chimpanzees approach, they hear this roaring sound, and you see the hair stand a little on end, and then they move a bit quicker. When they get here, they'll rhythmically sway, often upright, picking up big rocks and throwing them for maybe 10 minutes. Sometimes climbing up the vines at the side and swinging out into the spray. And they're right down in the water, which normally they avoid. Afterwards, you'll see them sitting on a rock, actually in the stream, looking up, watching the water with their eyes as it falls down, and then watching it going away. I can't help feeling that this wonderful display or dance is perhaps triggered by feelings of awe, wonder that we feel. The chimpanzee's brain is similar. They have emotions that are clearly similar to or the same as those that we call happiness, sadness, fear, despair, and so forth. Incredible intellectual abilities that we used to think unique to us. So why wouldn't they also have feelings of some kind of spirituality, which is really being amazed at things outside yourself.
And you stopped it right there.
And it's the same as...
Thank you. Thank you. Any reactions to that video, just quickly? Chimps at a waterfall, and what Jane says about them. Typically, when we talk about animals, we tend to project some of our own thoughts, feelings, and ideas onto them, which I think probably is a little bit risky, I know we have a lot in common with the chimps, but I think she tends to read into the chimps what may or may not be there for the chimps, if you know what I mean. They're feeling awe and wonder, and they're dancing. I would take issue with her and on the idea that they're dancing. And let me try to explain that to you, because I think if you understand that, you'll understand the foundations of dance and the roots of dance. And you'll understand the meaning of dance. chimps are responding to a momentary experience of the waterfall. We don't know what they're feeling. It may be awe, it may be wonder. But they're making movements, and maybe perhaps even making sounds. But here's the key. The difference between a dance and what the chimps are doing is a difference between a word and a sound. We make a lot of sounds that are not words. I mean, lately, when you hear me getting up from the chair, it's like, that's not a word. That's a sound that I'm making. Sometimes when I'm talking to you, I might make a sound that's not a word, and it's the word it's the sound and that sound I'm making is an involuntary sound that's coming out of my unconscious. And unless somebody reminds me that I'm saying that too much, I might continue to do that. But they'll say, you know, you say a lot. And when that gets translated into the speech, you don't find that word there because it's not a word, it's a sound. We make a lot of sounds that are involuntary, grunts and groans and things like that. They come from deep within us, but their sounds are not words. We do the same with movements. You know, we can move sometimes. We're not even aware that we're moving, you know. We're jumping around or hopping or skipping. And those are involuntary movements that we make. And like I say, there's a difference between a sound and a word. There's a difference between a dance and an erratic, involuntary, spontaneous movement like the chimps are making. Now, I'm not belittling the chimps. I love the chimps. But I wouldn't call it a dance. I would say there's erratic, spontaneous movement. A dance move is a formed gesture. A dance movement is a formed gesture, like a word. It means something. It's symbolic. It not only expresses emotions, passions, impulses, but it composes these deep passions and emotions into symbolic gestures that mean something. It composes these emotions into a form gesture. The form may be very delicate, very refined, like a ballet dance, or it may be the jerk or the twist, but there's always a way to do it. There's a right way to do it. It's a formed gesture that means something, expresses something. Now, if the chimps went back and created a dance, we would say that they were able to recall the experience, to name it, and to name the emotions and create a dance. We might call it the waterfall dance, or the dance of awe, or the dance of wonder. But unlike our distant cousins, the chimps, we humans are aware of what we are seeing. We are aware of the experience. We are more than that. We're aware of the way it made us feel. And we're able to take that moment and represent it in the form of a dance, create a dance that recalls that moment. You know, for the chimps, it's out of state, out of mind. As far as we know, out of state, out of mind. For a lot of humans, it's that way too. But for most of us, it's not out of state, out of mind. Out of state, we can recall it to our minds and remember it. And we can remember it in words, or better yet, we can remember it in terms of a dance. When I saw that film, it reminded me of that song, Deep Calls to Deep, at the sound of the cataracts. I'm not talking about eye disease, I'm talking about the waterfalls. Deep calls to deep at the sound of a waterfall. And so there's an emotional reaction to that waterfalls. Anybody ever been to Niagara Falls and you hear the roar? And I don't know about you, but the feeling that comes over you, the emotions, I would describe them as sublime, that come to you when you hear the roar of that water. And the feelings that it sets off in you. And we could create a dance called the Niagara Waterfall Dance. You can create a dance just about for anything under the sun, like the dance of the sugar plum fairies, or the dance of what was the one I saw on the internet? Dance of the moonlight fairies, dance of the night, dance of the cucumber. So I mean, I just type in dance of, and then you get all these dances, all these different things. So you create a dance for just about everything. And opera and ballet tend to create movements that represent just about anything under the sun. Any kind of movement we make or any kind of emotion we have is created into a gesture, a symbol on the stage. We're not having the emotional experience itself, but reenacting it through a dance. Just because you have emotions and passions doesn't mean you dance. You dance when you want to express those feelings and emotions. And they may be present at the moment or they may not be, but you're still doing the dance. And as I say, the dance, like the twist and the jerk, it even has rules, So, well, it has a right way of doing it and a wrong way of doing it. Now, at this point, I want you all to stand up. I'm not going to make you dance. I just want you to stand up. Everybody stand up, please. Turn around. Just twist around. All right, thank you. You can sit down now. You just did the twist. The old-fashioned way. No, okay. Where were we now? So dancing is a representation. It stands for an emotional, passionate, impulsive experience. It represents that. It means that, just like a word means something, a dance, gesture, symbolic means something. It's not just an erratic outburst of movement. My daughter lives in Australia, sent me a picture of her 5-year-old the other day, and she said she's dancing in front of the TV, which is playing some music a little bit. I'm not sure I'd call it a dance. I mean, she was jumping on the couch, jumping on the floor, jumping there, jumping there. I said, well, I'm not sure I'd call that dancing. It is expressing emotions at the moment. But once that moment's gone, feelings are gone, it's gone forever. But dancing brings back, represents those experiences that we have. Dancing is serious play. Dancing is a metaphor for life. We want to talk about dancing for a metaphor for life, because dance is cosmos as opposed to chaos. So if you want to use dancing as a metaphor for life, and you say, well, when I want to dance with you, there are certain rules we want to follow. We're not going to kick each other. We're trying not to step on each other's toes. We're going to try to be civil. So dancing to me is metaphoric of a civilized life where you have self-constraint, where you have some sense of self-discipline and self-constraint. If I want to dance with you and we're going to do the waltz, I would prefer you not get up and do the jerk. If we're doing a dance together, I'm hoping that we're dancing together in step. And so you could say it metaphorically, dancing is the gateway to civilization. It's not disorder. It's not what we're seeing in Washington right now. It's not disorder and chaos. It's civil for the most part. If you want to use it as a metaphor for life. I'm dancing with you. There are certain rules we're following, and we don't mind these rules. There's a way to do it and a way not to do it. So dancing is a metaphor for life. Dancing together in sync to the rhythm. So that's how I see that as who thought dance is a metaphor for life? Which brings me to ritual. Our ancient ancestors, there was no ritual without a dance. There was no ritual for our ancestors without a dance. And if you wanted to expose the secrets of the mystery cult of Dionysus, you danced them out. If you wanted to reveal the secret, you're not supposed to do that, but if you want to reveal the secrets of the Dionysian ritual, the way you would reveal them is to dance them out. And there were dances for every festival for our ancient and primitive ancestors had with it a dance. And there was a right way to do that, which is again to the word rite, R-I-T. When you think of R-I-T, ritual, rite, think of arithmetic. There's a certain way you do it, and you have to do it this way. Now, for the Native American Indians, the buffalo dance was not art or pleasure or entertainment. It was serious stuff. The hunt, the buffalo hunt, began with dance. It's like I said, we're going to dance now and go hunt. They said, no, we're going to start the hunt right now. And we dance. And if you get a chance, look at the buffalo dance on YouTube or whatever. It's a very elaborate dance. And they dance for a good hour. And it can be 3 or 4 people, or it can be a whole large group of people doing this buffalo dance. But the hunt starts with the dance, so it's not entertainment or play, it's serious business. It's a psychological preparation for the danger of the hunt, is what it is. It's kind of like a prayer. We're going to pray before we hunt. They're going to dance before they hunt, because it's psychological preparation for the extreme danger. Have you ever seen a full-grown buffalo? Whoa! And the fact that they bring these things down with spears and bows and arrows, it's extremely dangerous. So we're going to prepare ourselves for this dance. So ritual and dance go together, very serious for our ancient ancestors. Ritual, by the way, was something done. It wasn't something up here. It was done with your feet, your body. So you're using your whole body to express itself. You're using your whole body to offer thanksgiving to, the powers that be. What James said, things that are greater than us, that are outside of us. So you're using your whole body to do that. But unfortunately, in Western culture, like I said, theology moved up, religion moved up from the feet and the body to the head. It's what you carry in your head that matters, which I think is kind of sad that we've left our bodies out of the picture. A ritual is living. A ritual is living. It's a living ritual when you're performing the ritual and it's evoking the passions and the emotions and the impulses you felt at the original event. It's a dead ritual when you're just going through the motions and you don't feel a thing. And plenty of us can just go through the motions. We don't feel anything. So ritual reenacts an original event, brings it back to life, whether it's on the stage or whether it's around the dancing ring. That's what it's doing. It's alive, it's a living ritual when it evokes those same passions and feelings. But it's dead when it doesn't do that. We simply go through the emotions. We go eat the piece of bread, drink the glass of wine, talk about the body of Jesus, but we really don't feel anything. Talking about baptism, it's just something we do with emotions, but we really don't feel anything about it. Okay. I guess I say that because I have a lot of anger in me toward what has happened to Christianity in the Western world. And I have to deal with that anger and realize it's there. because I think that in many ways it's killed the spirit for me. It's basically destroyed the spirit. I think Jesus would dance, but I think Paul would say, shame on you. In the original Universal Catholic Church, St. Augustine says, shame on you. But I think Jesus would dance. I think Buddha would dance. I think they would all dance as a way to say, I'm not just giving myself to the powers that be in my head. I'm not just thinking thoughts. I don't have cargo in my brain that I'm carrying around. I feel in my whole body a sense of the presence of whatever you want to call it, the divine or the sacred. Now remember about sacred. People think sacred is all the good stuff. Sacred awe has a double side, awesome and awful. Don't ever forget that. The word sacred incorporates both. If you go back in Latin, it means you fear it, but you want to approach it. You realize the beauty of it, like Niagara Falls. You realize the extreme danger of it. That's what sacred means. It doesn't mean all this good feeling all the time. It means you want to approach this thing, but you're also aware of the danger that's involved. You have this sort of deep respect for it, all fear, whatever, but you have a respect for it. And you want to express that, not just by saying, oh, I respect that, I have reverence for that. You want to show it with your whole body, what you do with your body, what your body does, what we do with physical material reality matters, and that's part of giving of yourself to the powers that be, however you conceive those powers. Our distant ancestors learned to dance before they learned to talk, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to stop here. Dancing is, and this is from Rumi, the Hindu mystic Rumi. No, not Hindu, Sufi mystic, Islam. Dancing is not just getting up painlessly, like a leaf blown on the wind. Dancing is when you tear your heart out and rise out of your body to hang suspended between two worlds. Now, if anybody knows what that means, I want them to tell me. It sounds good. But anyway, I like that the part that got me was painlessly, because I'm at the age when somebody says, let's dance, I'm like, I'm not sure I want to do that. My wife wanted to take dancing lessons for a long time, and I kept saying, no, I really don't want to do that, but now I kind of regret doing that. I wish I would have done it. But anyway, there's still time. I can still do it. But anyway, one of my relatives, I won't say exactly who, was in PhD in geology, came to the UU congregation in Brevard, and one day they had a circle dance, and he just thought that was the most barbaric thing anybody could ever do. Savage. To get up and get in a circle and move around was just, he was too dignified for that. Now, I don't hold him at fault for that, because I think it was the way he was raised and the way some of us are raised, that we get too stiff, And I won't point the finger. When I'm pointing the finger, I got three pointing back at me. You know how the saying goes. And it's stiff, because I feel that way too. I'm reluctant to want to get up and move. And even if it's just get up and form a circle. So anyway, let's bring it to an end. Let it be a dance. Let life be a dance we do. Not just with our heads, but with our whole bodies too. Amen. Thank you. Well, I mean, you're supposed to say amen. I'm supposed to say amen. Saying amen to a preacher is like saying amen, sick 'em to a dog. So I've got a whole other sermon here. Okay, where are we? We're going to sing Save the Dance for Thee. The
get up and move around?
Yeah, yes.
Just do it. You only live once. We only live once, so we shall never pass this way again.
Try to give you some rhythm and gives you some feel. Dance, never dance with a girl who gives you the honor and won't you try. You smile, and smile with a girl who holds your hand in her pale light. Just don't forget to take you home into what you're gonna be. Oh, now, say the last dance for me. Yes, I know that the music's fine. My spark can find you and have your fun. Dancing, singing about love. Don't give your heart to anyone. Just don't forget to take you home into what you're gonna be. Oh, now, say the last dance for me. You can dance, don't carry on. The night is long and it's time to go. If she asks when you're all alone, you say alone, you must tell her no. Just don't forget to take you home. It's what you're gonna be. Oh, darling, say the last dance for me. One more time. Just don't forget to take you home. It's what you're gonna be. Oh, darling, say the last dance for me.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Let me close with these words, and then we'll extinguish our chalice. Deep peace of the running wave to you, deep peace of the flowing air to you, deep peace of the quiet earth to you, deep peace of the shining stars to you, deep peace of the infinite peace to you. We'll extinguish our chalice and join with me, please, in our words. We extinguish the flame of this chalice